Hello Starcraft fans, this is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. This is a game between OldDude and theldron on Orbital Shipyard. Now this is OldDude. I posted a replay of his maybe a couple weeks ago. He is over 60 and an inspiration to all of us who hope to be playing Starcraft well into the future. Alright, in the top right of Orbital Shipyard we have the red Protoss player. It is OldDude. And in the bottom left of Orbital Shipyard, we have the blue Terran player. It is theldron. Alright, so this is a lower level play, but OldDude does tend to send me replays where fun stuff happens, where kind of creative strategies are used. And in the end, I think it's worth the casting. So stick around, have a good time, take your socks off and your shoes, and just relax. I do try to post one higher level Masters or above replay every day, and then post kind of a lower one, or maybe another second high level one at the same time. I do 2 casts a day, people, so just be happy that you get what you get. And if you don't enjoy these lower level ones, I'll try to label them clearly so you don't have to spend your time on them if you don't want to. I'm not trying to make you do anything you don't want to do, but again, I do try to cast lower level games that are interesting and fun in some way, and so just trust me on this. This should be worth the watch. As I take a quick drink from my water glass here. So, looks like OldDude is opening up, very obviously, with the gateway. Barracks coming up, a full wall coming from theldron. Theldron knows about adepts. Theldron is very smart. Recognizing that adepts coming up here and ruining your day by two-shotting your workers is not something anybody wants to experience. Oh, actually going for the command center here too. Theldron giving the macro play. Oh, and the same thing coming out from OldDude at the same time. I like to see this. So both players going for the macro refinery coming up. Assimilator should be, yes, double assimilator now for OldDude. I like this. The build orders are solid here. OldDude said he was about gold level in Heart of the Swarm. Hasn't played quite enough of Legacy of the Void to get to that level there yet. So again, he is a pretty good player. This isn't quite Bronze League Heroes. You're going to see some fun stuff. Some solid macro like this. Good build orders here. Continuing to make probes and pylons. Continuing to make SCVs. And build those supply depots as well. We're not going to see too many supply blocks here in the early game. These players have been around long enough. Another thing on this topic, while we're talking about it, I know everybody talks about, yeah, gold level is so bad, but you know what? Gold level in 2015 is much different from gold level back in 2010. Back in 2010, the player base was so much bigger. So a lot of players were new to StarCraft. They hadn't played Brood War. They hadn't played StarCraft 1. And honestly, I had played a lot of Brood War, and the learning curve for StarCraft 2 is pretty big for me. I remember I played Zerg, and they were like, do you want a tutorial? Do you want to go up against some computers? And I was like, no. And I went on the ladder and got 4-gated by a Protoss and got crushed and said, all right, this is totally different than what I was expecting. So what I'm saying is, back then, Gold was just full of players who didn't know what they were doing, didn't have any experience. But today, the player base is a lot smaller, and a lot of these guys that are in the lower leagues have been playing, honestly, for 3, 4, 5 years. So they have much more solid macro mechanics, much more solid micro decision-making skills. The levels of these games can be a lot higher than you would expect at a gold platinum level. I will give you that bronze is still pretty terrible, as is silver. There's really not much to root for out there, but you know, gold level and higher has better games than you might expect. So that's enough preaching from Falcon Paladin today. Thanks for sticking with me on that. We'll get back to the StarCraft. Adept moving on out for OldDude. And again, there's this wall. It's going to be difficult for the Adept to do anything whatsoever. Can two-shot these Marines, but the Marine count's getting fairly high. The Adept comes up to the top of this ramp and tries to make something happen. The Marines should be able to burn her down pretty quickly. Might lose 1 or 2 of their comrades, but that's about it. Robo Bay coming on up for OldDude, or Facility rather. Tanks coming from theldron, recognizing that tanks are a pretty good answer to these Adepts because they do take just a lot of damage from those. Here comes the prison. Nope, that absolutely did not happen for our friend. Psionic Transfer was not able to get up there because the invulnerable shade that can move but cannot attack cannot go through buildings. So they can go through units. If there was, for example, a Marine holding this wall and that was it, they could project the shade through there, but that was not the case. So OldDude's a little bit stymied, saying, what on earth do I do now? How am I supposed to get through here? There's a tank for defense. theldron defending this very well at this point. Meanwhile, Twilight Council on the way for OldDude. Maybe OldDude wants to get that, what is that upgrade called? I am spacing so bad right now. Resonating Glaives increases the attack speed of the Adepts by 45%. That's quite a big increase on attack speed. Increases your DPS by quite a bit indeed. Chrono boosting out Warp Gate Research. Let's see what happens with the Twilight Council. Could this be used for Blink? OldDude might want to use Blink here. Getting out an Immortal Immortal, an interesting choice against Terran. It does pretty good against tanks, but Marines just chew through them like they're made out of tissue paper. So just depending on the positioning of that Immortal, it can be pretty good or pretty darn terrible at the same time. Twilight Council not being used for anything yet. Might just be used so that he can make Templar Archives and get some Storm. Storm is really good against Terran players here. We'll have to see. Again, trying to pop up that ramp using the Psionic Transfer, but nope. Nothing doing whatsoever. That is visible to the other player, by the way. That shade that comes up, the Terran player can see that. So recognizing that OldDude is trying to get through there, it must be very, very careful lowering the supply depot to get out. Otherwise, the Adept might be able to get in. So we're up to about, what is that, 31 to 32 Harvesters at this point. Both players are macroing fairly well here at the 5-minute mark. This is a little bit sparse down here, Looks like theldron doing a better job spreading out his worker count here at this point. But double gas actually coming up from both of these players at their expansions. And that's probably where most of the workers for OldDude are going at this point. Probe over here, maybe trying to take a sneaky third base. This would be a weird place to place your third. And honestly, at this level, players don't scout very well. That can be one of the problems that they deal with, is they don't scout and they're terrified of what's coming their way. So throwing down hidden ninja expansions can be a good way to get up a base without your opponent knowing about it. Probe here is idle, should get to work throwing up 2 cannons. It looks like OldDude is worried about drops, which is very, very intelligent, because you know what? Drops are a problem from Terran. They're very, very strong. They can really ruin your day. Ooh, Liberators on the way from theldron as well. Theldron, I like the way you think, man. Get those Liberators out there, throw down some defender mode circles. It's good air-to-air defense and attack as well. Third command center being placed here for theldron. I don't know if he's planning on floating it all the way up there, or not sure why he's not taking the low ground. It kind of looks like both players are kind of scared to take this third base at this point, the traditional third base location anyway. I have seen players take this one sometimes before the one here, but not usually. And a defender mode circle being used in defender mode here on the ramp. Going to be a difficult time for anything to get up here right now, especially with 2 tanks, a bunch of Marines, and some Marauders there. So here we are at the 6-minute and 42-second mark. Getting those upgrades is OldDude. Ground melee, air weapons at the same time, and a Stargate on the way, as well as Zealot legs. That's what that Twilight Council is being used for, Zealot legs. It looks like he wants some Zealots. He has some Adepts and Sentries and some Immortals. At the same time, he is a fan of the Stargate units. I have seen him use those in a cast of his, one of his games that I cast previously. But man, look at this, all the way up to 47 workers for theldron. Spending the money fairly well, getting a little bit high on the mineral count there. Might want to throw down some more bunkers, or some more barracks rather. Oh hey, more barracks, there we go. Look at that, recognizing that his money's getting high, building production units to spend that money to get his army count up as fast as humanly possible. There we go. Command center is flying on over to this low ground here, the traditional third base location. So hallucinated Phoenix heading on out. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be producing a pylon or a nexus. OldDude doesn't quite look like he's saving up the money for a nexus, so I'm not sure what the intent here is. Advanced ballistics on the way. What is this? Increases the range of Liberators in defender mode by 4? What on earth? How did I miss this in the patch notes? Alright, so for those of you who said the Liberator range in defender mode needs to be bigger, there it is right there for you. Advanced ballistics. Ta-da! So it makes the circles of death even bigger. 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Dang, that's a lot more area that they'll cover. And there goes the nexus for OldDude. Okay, so I like the upgrade usage here, holding down the fort using these defender mode circles on their own. They are susceptible to being picked off by anti-air units, because when they're in defender mode, they can't use their, what are those called? Liberation missiles or whatever they're called. Can't use those when they're attacking the ground. It's one or the other. So a Phoenix coming up here would be able to kill them pretty quickly. I mean, these aren't light units, so a Phoenix is probably not a good choice, but a Void Ray or something would tear through them pretty fast at the same time. And look at this, Fleet Beacon on the way. Stargate into Fleet Beacon, into Dark Shrine for OldDude. He is doing whatever he wants right now. The Terran player is not focusing on drops, is really just focusing on getting 3 bases and defending. Hallucinating Phoenix gets burned down by those Marines. They do have +1 infantry weapons and +2 being researched. It is on the way, and +1 armor coming up from OldDude at the same time. Those of you playing the When Falcon Paladin says at the same time, take a drink. Go ahead and take another drink. Please don't get alcohol poisoning. I'm going to try to refrain from saying that phrase as much as I usually do. Anion Pulse Crystals being researched, increasing the range of the Phoenix weapon by 2. It looks like OldDude is planning on making a whole bunch of Phoenix possibly to deal with these Liberators. A big Phoenix count can come in here, snipe these down pretty quickly before the Marines can react, especially if the Marine ball is not as big as it normally could be. Theldron up to 47 harvesters. Not really making any more workers at this point. Another hallucinated Phoenix taking shots from the Liberator. And it is Liberator missile launchers. That is what it is. Does it get a kill for that? No. Killing hallucinated units not actually get you a kill. Fourth base on the way here for OldDude. And we have to be going into carriers. Indeed we are. Carrier warping on in. Carrier has not quite arrived, but it's getting close. It's on the way. It's not being chrono boosted though. Chrono boost is being used on this upgrade instead, and moving on to the graviton catapult, making the carrier launch interceptors more quickly, which is very, very nice. The less time spent launching interceptors is the more time where they're attacking. So again, hanging out with an interesting unit composition here. Just Immortals, Adepts, Sentries, warping in some Dark Templars at the same time. A pretty good Phoenix ball here, 6 Phoenix with the +1 attack on those air weapons. Was that +2 ground? Yes, +2 ground weapons on the way for OldDude as well. And composition here for Theldron continues just to be Marines. A couple Liberators, another Liberator on the way. Are they being used? Good placement of the missile turrets here. I like that very much indeed. And here comes the Dark Templar. Let's see if he can make anything happen. Are there any turrets or maybe any scans around? I think, yeah, you really don't want to attack into the army. Going after the SCVs, much juicier targets to do. One-shot workers. And here it is. Dark Templar up to 3 kills already. 4 kills. 5 kills, 6 kills. No, why? Dark Templar massacre here. Oh, on Orbital Shipyard. There's the scan, but there's nothing to actually kill it. So is it going to live? Trying to get outside of the scan radius? It does. Oh, it takes a shot after it was outside. There's the scan. A second scan, and the Dark Templar does get taken down. So let's see if the range... There it is. Advanced ballistics. Doesn't look any bigger than it used to be. Maybe that's a graphical mess up. I don't know. I really do not know. Third base is here. Really wants some workers. OldDude hasn't made probes for quite a while, but perhaps he's happy with what he has. He has enough money to make a couple more carriers here. Theldron still continuing to stockpile those minerals. Trying to make it happen. Liberator count getting very, very high at this point. Enough energy on this orbital command for a scan. Normally I would say you want to use those on the mules, but the scans kind of saved him from that Dark Templar. So units lost tab shows 7 SCVs have died so far in this game. OldDude has lost an Adept and a Dark Templar. So both players have been pretty passive so far at this point, trying to make things happen. The carriers, I feel like, are going to play a pretty big point here. The Liberator count, though, getting fairly big at the same time. Liberators, let's see, they don't do extra damage versus anything. It's just kind of... anti-ground weapon, 16. Alright. Anyway, what I was going to say is their anti-air weapon doesn't do extra damage versus light or massive or anything like that. So, and splash damage doesn't help too much because carriers don't tend to clump up when they're attacking that well. They're just such big units here. Theldron throwing down command centers here and up here at the same time. Oh, man, drinking game. It's harder than I thought. Is this just a straight Adept? Nope. Adept Dark Templar drop on the way from OldDude. Let's see if this happens. Might accidentally scout out that command center as it lands for Theldron. Heading on out, moving past these mineral patches. Does see the command center here. I believe that was part of the vision. Indeed, it does see it there. Might try to kill it. I'm not sure why the Warp Prism is heading back home. There is nothing from Theldron that says he's going to attack anytime soon here. The army's getting fairly big, though. Theldron is up to 152 total supply. The tanks aren't going to be much use against the carriers, right? It's pretty much a Skytoss army at this point. Future upgrades look like ground armor level 2, concussive shells, stim pack. Is that ground armor level 1? Infantry armor level 1 on the way as well, and a Raven for Theldron. So here comes the Warp Prism moving back down this way, landing on the low ground, and hopefully moving on up to kill this thing because it's just kind of hanging out right now. Nothing really dealing with it. A lot of cannons here for the base defense to keep this thing alive. I do like that play. And yeah, so right now Protoss is on 1, 2, 3, 4 total bases. Terran's on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total bases. And normally I'd be pretty happy about that if you're Terran. But again, those carriers I just think are going to wreck Theldron's day. The Stalkers are here just to make sure this can't lift off and run away. Doesn't even try, explodes instead. Some units get picked up. The Stalkers get picked up by the Warp Prism. The army heading on over with the Liberators trying to catch that Warp Prism. Are they going to see it? Oh, it slips right past them. Woo, just out of that vision. These guys escaped as well. Liberators come over here with a lot of anger in their hearts for no reason whatsoever. Warp Prism moving on down, probably going to catch it. Ooh, stops just short of those missile turrets. OldDude really babysitting that Warp Prism there. I like to see that. Good play indeed from OldDude. Heading on up here, the Liberators might try to harass. Well, there are some Vikings here for the anti-air support, but that's about it. Oh, and the Vikings find the Warp Prism and take it down. Viking count getting pretty big here. How many Vikings? 12 total. 12 is pretty good. Liberators flying on into this fourth base. Defender mode being thrown down. But look at all the Phoenix here. The Liberators getting out of defender mode, running away from all of these carriers and all of these Phoenix. I think a few shots on these Phoenix might kill them, but theldron decides not to take that chance, just decides to run away. Instead, Stalker's chasing them all the way home. And I'm not sure why theldron scanned his own stuff there. Oh. Whoa! Supply drop for theldron, and now he has 200 available supply. Continuing to make supply depots. I'm not sure he recognized how much additional supply this gave him, because it's 8 additional per, and he's at 200 supply right now. So theldron, no, don't spend your money on those things. All right, whatever. theldron not getting any workers on this gas here. Gas looking okay. OldDude is about 2,500 minerals, 1,500 minerals. At this point, continuing to build what at this point? Getting upgrades, getting some Archons, getting +3 ground, +1 air armor, because why not at this point? These Stalkers are still hanging out here. Nothing really too much for them to report. Carrier count is at 4, so kind of an eclectic group of units here for OldDude. He has Phoenix, Immortals, Adepts, Archons, Sentries, Observers, and some Zealots in the army as well. Some charge lots. Pretty good stuff. This army is looking scary though for theldron. +1, +2 on these Vikings. The Viking count again, or the Liberator count, looking fairly high at the same time. This does splash damage. It's 8 damage, 2 attacks, range of 5, so 16 per volley. And the splash damage is really, really good against these clumped up Phoenix that they usually do. So it should be a pretty good battle here. Theldron is officially just about maxed out at 199 total supply. OldDude is at 178, 180 out of 180. Supply blocked here just a little tiny bit. +2 air weapons on the way. Protoss ground armor level 3 and Tempest. Tempest for some reason. I'm not sure what those are for. They're good against... actually, they're not. They don't have that massive bonus anymore. Alright. I guess they just want to get that range on these units. So a lot of air to deal with the air that OldDude is working on. I think theldron just needs to attack at this point, and he's going to do it. Here we go, theldron. Being brave, moving out across the map. All those Marines, too, are just a big problem for OldDude. Marines tear through Skytoss. They burn through carriers as long as they focus down the carrier and don't worry about the interceptors. That's going to be key in this upcoming battle. Can theldron do it? Hanging out on this high ground. Going to kill this other debris to get down off the high ground. It's kind of like a cat. Like, let me inside, and then you let it inside, and it goes, meow, 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 meow. I want to go back outside again. Whoa, tanks sieging on the high ground. Dark Templar moving on down to different places, checking to make sure there aren't bases for the Terran player. There is a planetary fortress and missile turrets here. This guy is not long for the world. 1 shot to the face, 2 shots to the face, 3 shots to the face, and 4 shots. Enough to deal with that Dark Templar. This guy, again, will be disappointed. Not much to see over here, although an SCV has been tasked with building stuff. At this point, he hasn't actually started doing it. There he is. Oh, SCV, why? This is not a good day for you. Heading on up. I'm just going to build a missile turret. Don't mind me. La doo doo doo. La 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 la. Oh, 1 shot. The SCV sparks and falls down into the ground here. What is that Viking count at? Units tab shows it is 22 Vikings, 8 Liberators, 6 tanks, 3 Marauders, 51 Marines, and a Raven. I feel like the composition for theldron is super good. Getting +3 attack as well. Getting weapon retrofit. Is he building battle cruisers? I don't know if that's a great idea. Yeah, getting tech labs on these starports. He's going into battle cruiser production here. He doesn't have the supply for it, which is a little bit weird, but perhaps he is intending to lose this army and replace it with battle cruisers. That would be pretty good stuff. All in all. So the tanks could siege up here, take out these cannons fairly easily, but again, theldron just playing this a little bit, I'd say tentatively. Probe coming in to take another base along this right side. OldDude really wants all the bases he can possibly handle. Both players are maxed out. OldDude has 66 workers. theldron has about 52. Flying around, you at least need to scout this out. Need to see what you can do. Marines coming on in. They are +3, +2 Marines. They will make short work of these cannons. They are taking casualties, but actually just trying to kill the pylons to depower the cannons. Interesting choice there. Oh, and the recall on top of all of these Marines. OldDude using the recall ability. The Archons, the Carriers, the Stalkers, the Immortals tear through that bio army. I don't think OldDude lost a single army unit there. Moving around with the air portion of the army here. And no, because unfortunately Defender mode does not work against buildings. These Liberators are not very useful, and neither are the Vikings. The tanks, again, could siege up and lay siege to this fairly quickly, but recall's over here now. Does OldDude just bouncing back and forth with his army wherever he wants it to be. And at this point, someone needs to attack. Someone just needs to sit here and say, you know what, I might lose my army, but so be it. This is Starcraft 2. This is for the bold and not for the tentative. The Archons, again with a +3, do 47 damage versus biological units. And Marines are considered biological, as are SCVs. They'll one-shot these SCVs with the splash damage. There, again, all that supply being thrown down as well from the Orbital command with these call down extra supplies. Ability does cost 50 energy and increases the amount of supply a supply depot is giving you by 8. Pretty good stuff indeed. Air weapons are at +3 here. Ion cannons, 13 damage versus light, 8 damage overall. I don't think Liberators are considered light. Nope, they are armored and mechanical. SCVs are here to repair at the same time. theldron, move on out. You can do this thing. You can kill this army. I believe in you, man. What was that? Was that OldDude accidentally killing his own stuff? Or maybe intentionally killing his own stuff? I don't know. theldron is only up to 176 total supply, continuing to make battle cruisers, getting Terran building armor as well. Starports continuing to be made. theldron wants to make the battle cruiser work. And for those of us who have watched the battlecruiser in TVZs or TVPs, we know that is not usually the case. I don't imagine it will be today, but again, the upgrades are good. +2, +2, +3, ship plating, 6 armor on this thing. It's going to be very hard to kill indeed, although again, the Carriers and the Tempest do have a +3 attack. So 56 damage versus massive. They do have that bonus. Battlecruisers are massive. That does not bode well at all. Another recall down here with the army. Almost an offensive recall. Look at this. OldDude using the recall to get down here with the army and then to go and attack this base, I think, is the plan here. Waiting for everybody to show up. Trying to take another base is this probe with some minerals in its own mouth here. This probe hanging out saying, hey guys, how's it going? I'm just scouting you building a base here. I think the probe's actually in the way to prevent this command center from going down. Defender mode. Overkill of all overkills. One shots that probe. Poor little corpse hanging out there. This base did lose all the pylons powering these cannons, and all the workers are gone too, but it's pretty much mined out. I don't think OldDude is really worrying about it at this point. But theldron taking bases here. OldDude taking bases here. This is just kind of like 2 heavyweights in the ring. Yeah, good placement of that cannon, getting that Liberator the heck out of there. This is not enough to attack any of those probes. Nope, and get a little bit closer. Oh, that's what I was talking about. 14 range. 16 range, rather. So the range from here to your circle. Big attack, destroying all the missile turrets. The planetary fortress going down as well. Here comes theldron, trying to make it happen. Defender mode circles being thrown down at the same time. Hunter's secret missile does kill an Archon here. The Viking count looking very, very big. Deciding to stand and fight here is OldDude, though, going on into the defender mode circles. The Liberators killing with a can. Tactical warp being used to bring the battle cruisers in to help out as well. Can they get the mothership core? I don't think they're focusing on it here. theldron really microing very well here, going after the Carriers, killing the Tempest as well. The Archons below are just doing a lot of splash damage. However, to that battle cruiser, defender mode helping out on that count. The final Tempest, one more volley, and it might end up dead. It does. The Phoenix as well, taking it. The Viking count very, very low, but it should be enough. Battle cruiser finally trying to tear through the armor of this mothership core and does manage to kill it. Does have 2 kills now. So that was a pretty big deal. A bunch of Dark Templar heading out across the map here. Resources lost tab shows that theldron has lost 14,000 minerals, 5,000 gas. OldDude has lost 9,000 minerals and 6,000 gas, but 40 SCVs have died for theldron, and more are going to die here. There are missile turrets here to detect the Dark Templar, but that is about it. These Phoenix getting mown down as well by the Liberator and the battle cruiser. Is it going to be able to get the Liberator? Oh, final shot does kill that Liberator. And the Phoenix dies as well. Its corpse falling to the ground. Not really a corpse, I guess it's more of a wreckage, because Phoenix are planes, I think. Spaceships, perhaps. Siege tanks being used on unpowered cannons and on a Nexus. theldron with only 14 SCVs remaining. Dark Templar trying to find an angle to kill this base. It lifts up immediately. OldDude turns these into Archons. Says, you can't run from me that easily. This Nexus is not long for this world. Plus 3 siege tanks doing 44 damage as they attack. Command center falls and explodes. I really like the attention to detail that Blizzard does in these games, like especially at this level of graphics, I guess. Mules being thrown down by theldron, trying to get that income back on up. This is the good thing about Terran. These Vikings flying over cannons for reasons I don't fully understand. The Archon and Zealot army moving up the ramp here. There's nothing really here for theldron. There are 3 battle cruisers, but if they allow the Archons to hit them, it could be a very bad day indeed. Who is going to win this battle? Battle cruisers doing a lot better than I actually expected here. Again, these are +3, +3, +3 battle cruisers. The problem is Zealots have a lot of armor, and killing them will take a long time for these battle cruisers. Is it enough to save the base? I do not know. Tanks laying siege to this base for OldDude at the same time. A lot going on across the map at this point. Where are those battle cruisers? Another one coming in. 1 battle cruiser against 2 Archons. Who's going to win that? Yamato cannon being thrown down on these Archons, killing 1. And yeah, actually taking the Archon count pretty low. Battle cruiser Archon stalemate right there. Both units died at the same time. The Zealots here with +3, +2, +3. So very hard to kill. But again, not much of this can shoot up. There's a single Archon with 9 hit points. But the battle cruisers desperately want to destroy here. But the Zealots and the Archons are going after everything in the space that they can kill. The battle cruisers desperately trying to prevent this from happening and cleaning things up fairly well. But a lot of supply depots are being lost. The fusion core was taken down as well. Missile turrets being destroyed. The OldDude finally deciding to back out. No, instead decides to go after the supply depots. Can't decide what he wants to do actually with these units. The tanks are still laying siege to this base. There's nothing popping out of here for OldDude to deal with it. Warping in some Zealots might be able to deal with this, but I think he's microing these guys a little bit too much, trying to get this add-on, this reactor. Are they going to be able to get it? It's going to be super duper close. And no, the reactor stays alive, but it's burning. And I don't know that theldron is paying enough attention to recognize that this is going to be a problem. Tanks ripping down gateways very quickly. Tank count fairly high here. Zealots moving on down here for OldDude again. A few Dark Templar trying to finish off the base. Doesn't realize this one still exists. This one still exists. This orbital command has enough for a mule. Might want to throw it down here just because this is the safe place. SCVs trying to transfer, getting killed. One does manage to survive, but just until charge happens. No, they turn around and go back home. It is kind of a base race at this point. These tanks, man, 6 kills, 8 kills, 7 kills, 3 kills. The lost probe count is escalating here for OldDude. I'm not sure what the intent is. OldDude has found his target, though. Going after the starports. No more battle cruisers, says OldDude. And, yep, the Zealot count here, again, high, but they can't shoot up. The battle cruisers do quite a bit of damage here. With a +3, it's 9, is it 11? Ground, yeah, 11 damage. Weapon speed of 0.16. So that's 11 damage with every one of those laser bursts. Dark Templar dying as well, in range of that missile turret. Finally, the attack gets cleaned up. Oh, except for these DTs. And there's the scan. There's the scan. And the factory is going to burn down here, as well as this barracks. Yep, the reactor ended up dead at the same time. Theldron is evacuating, is trying to go on home. This is a planetary fortress. Hard for these Zealots to take all by their lonesomes, especially if the SCVs are repairing it here. But this base completely got obliterated by those tanks. This base as well killed by those tanks. The question is, can the battle cruisers make this happen? There are 6 battle cruisers, a Liberator, and 2 Vikings for Theldron right now. And there are 5 Zealots, 13 Tempest up for OldDude, and 9 Templar. So, High Templar rather. Probe Massacre continuing here for OldDude. I don't know why those workers were standing here, but here it is, the big attack. Tempest from the ground as well. The Planetary Fortress does explode into the air. The SCVs trying to run for their lives. No, there is no escape for the SCVs. And here it is. I think this is the final confrontation. Oh, look at that. Feedback being used as well. Yamato Cannon trying to make this happen, but the extra damage, too massive, is just too much. The army gets cleaned up. theldron calls the GG, is defeated, and OldDude is victorious. Woo! So 29-minute game there. Pretty darn fun stuff from both of these players. Early game a little bit slow, but I thought OldDude's response was pretty fantastic, saying, hey, if you're going to go battle cruisers, then I will go Tempest, and all your stuff will die. So again, thank you so much for watching today. This has been Falcon Paladin with yet another daily Blizzard upload. Oh, daily Legacy of the Void upload. Oh, how embarrassing for me on that count. You can catch me on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook, all at /Falcon Paladin. Stick around to listen to the music at the end. On the end slate. It's really very, very nice stuff. If you haven't heard it before, give it a chance. Again, thanks to all 2,000 plus of you subscribers. Thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, as always, you take care of yourself.